I want to go to every county in the United States. And you may say, well, that'll take many years. Are you sure you want to do that right now? And I say, no, which is why I'm starting small. Today I'm going to the 11 counties in North Alabama in just under 12 hours, hopefully, if everything goes well. But first, we have to figure out how we're going to do it, as in, what vehicle we're going to use.
This is the Sweet Ride, a 2010 Honda CRV with 160,000 miles, at least 3 working tires, and no AC.
This is the North Alabama County Challenge. Now let's hit the road. Welcome to Decatur, Alabama, the county seat of Morgan County and the birthplace of the best NFL quarterback, Philip Rivers.
Decatur was founded in 1820 along a river crossing of the Tennessee River. The city grew massively in the antebellum period thanks to both the river and being the eastern connection of the first railroad line west of the Appalachians. Despite its growth, it was ravaged by fighting during the Civil War, and only 4 buildings from before the war stand today, one of them being the Old State Bank that you see here. After the war, however, the city continued to grow, and it is now in the top 10 cities by population in Alabama.
Decatur was not actually the first county seat of Morgan County. That title belongs to Summerville, just about 30 miles away from here. The courthouse there still stands and is the oldest extant courthouse in Alabama, but unfortunately it's too far out of the way to make a stop today. This courthouse was completed in the mid-70s, and you can tell. It's got that Soviet-style brutalist architecture that was popular in that time and that I'm personally not a fan of. I'm glad we're back to building more beautiful buildings.
Got the sludge.
Now we're off to our next stop, but while I'm driving there, let me explain to you what I'm actually doing today. There are 3,144 counties or county equivalents in the United States. The county equivalents are the parishes of Louisiana, the boroughs of Alaska, the independent cities of Virginia, nothing important right now. Each county, with a few exceptions, has a county seat with a county courthouse. Some even have 2 courthouses. The courthouse is generally the center of the county's justice system and was historically a central meeting place for the town it was in. I want to go to all of these courthouses, but today I'm starting small and only going to the counties in North Alabama.
Right now, we're headed through Tanner, Alabama, which is a small town that's most famous for getting hit by 2 EF5 or F5 tornadoes in the same day on April 3rd, 1974, in the first super outbreak. And I say the first because if you didn't know, there was another super outbreak in 2011.
So what do I mean by North Alabama? Well, unfortunately, it's not defined in the Constitution like Tennessee's Grand Divisions, but I'm going to be using the counties included in Huntsville's National Weather Service office as my definition for today. These counties are Morgan, Limestone, Lauderdale, Colbert, Franklin, Lawrence, Coleman, Marshall, DeKalb, Jackson, and Madison counties. These 11 counties are pretty unambiguously considered North Alabama, and they should be easy to get to in one day. Sorry, Winston and Cherokee County fans, I'll get to you guys eventually.
And now that you know more about what's going on, here's our second stop, Athens, the county seat of Limestone County.
Athens is a nice small town located along the interstate in an area full of fertile soil for cotton farmers to come down and establish farms in the early 1800s. And the county itself is actually pretty small. Limestone County is the 3rd smallest county in Alabama, with only 559.94 square miles of area. Nowadays, new counties are required to have at least 600 square miles in area, but a few smaller counties got grandfathered in, including Limestone, which is actually the smallest county we'll visit on this trip.
This courthouse was completed in 1919. It was actually completed by 2 different companies, because during the construction, the building costs got so high from World War II that the original company went bankrupt, and an additional company finished it on a $200,000 contract.
Athens has grown recently, as contains plenty of suburbs of the rapidly growing Huntsville, and I've spent a lot of time here myself, mostly at Buc-ee's.
You know, I've been thinking about how strange it is that this whole area of North Alabama is like almost completely flat compared to the mountains in the west and the forests in the east. It's really weird. I've always wondered how that happens. It's like you can see it on Google Maps. Guess I'll just keep wondering.
And now we are going to leave Athens and make our way on the hour drive down US 72 towards the Shoals, named after an area of the Tennessee River where you could catch mussels, hence Muscle Shoals. And yes, they did used to spell it like that. Florence is the primary city of the Shoals and the county seat of Lauderdale County, but we'll also head to Tuscumbia today. Florence is the birthplace of famous jazz musician W.C. Handy, and it's the location of the Rosenbaum House, a Frank Lloyd Wright designed house, and the only one of his homes that's located in Alabama.
And now we've made it to Florence, the county seat of Lauderdale County, the third stop on our trip. This courthouse was finished in 1964, and just the 10 years between this courthouse and the one in Decatur. I mean, I don't know about you, but I like this building a lot more than the Morgan County Courthouse. Might be just a personal preference, but I like it when the concrete at least is painted.
Despite the fact that it was pretty early in the morning on a Thursday, it was pretty busy at the courthouse. I had trouble finding a parking spot at first until I landed one in the free, thankfully, courthouse parking lot. And downtown Florence is a nice area. Anchored by the courthouse, they have events such as the W.C. Handy Music Festival in the summer, where they have a bunch of music events and celebrations of blues and all that. And just outside of downtown is the University of North Alabama, the oldest public college in Alabama. And if you cross some of the streets, you'll see the little Paul logo for the school on the roads, just as a sign that you're on their campus.
An important part of this city's musical legacy is W.C. Handy, a pioneer of Memphis blues who was born here in 1873.
And before we visit our next courthouse, we're going to visit another part of that same legacy in the nearby town of Sheffield.
1, 2, 3.
This building behind me is Muscle Shoals Sound Studios, one of the two main recording studios in the Shoals, the other one being Fame Studios, which actually stands for Florence, Alabama Music Enterprise, despite being in the city of Muscle Shoals.
Between the two studios, Muscle Shoals and Fame, artists like Aretha Franklin, Alabama, Leonard Skinner, Bob Dylan, even George Michael, Paul Simon, and Art Garfunkel all recorded here in North Alabama. And now, since we've already crossed the Tennessee River, we're in our next county, and it's just a 10-minute hop over to Tuscumbia to go visit the next courthouse.
Welcome to Tuscumbia, the county seat of Colbert County, and this is by far my favorite courthouse so far on this trip. I mean, look at it. Looks just like the White House, but smaller. And it's got the big clock tower in the back. This is just a great building.
In addition to those two studios, the Shoals is also known for being the birthplace of activist Helen Keller. Or as she would say, I'm not going to make that joke. Outside of that, Tuscumbia has a nice little downtown, but we're definitely reaching the beginning of the towns with slightly smaller populations than Florence or Decatur. We're going to be in rural areas for a little while after this. Case in point, our next stop today is
Russellville, the county seat of Franklin County. Now, Franklin County is actually the least populated of all of the ones we're going to on this trip, with only 31,000 people, although that is by far not the least populated of all the counties in Alabama. The least populated is actually Greene County, which has about 7,000. Not much goes on here except the Watermelon Festival in the summer, but it's April right now, so that means we move on to here. Welcome to Moulton, the county seat of Lawrence County. Now, the last time I was here, the whole area around the courthouse across the street behind me was under construction, so I wasn't able to go at all. Look at it. It's so nice. You can tell the pavement's new. The last time I was here was back in September, so it's been like 8 months now. I would have been surprised if they weren't open.
Moulton is the least populated of all the county seats in North Alabama, with a population of only 3,398 in 2020. However, while nothing goes on in Moulton, Lawrence County has part of the William Bankhead National Forest within its borders. So if you need something to do in the area, you could go for a little hike or a canoe. But now that we've covered basically everything there is in Lawrence County, it's time to head to our next county, our next courthouse, and if you got the time earlier, we need to get some lunch.
So we just entered Coleman County. I'd say we're about 11 miles away from Coleman. And It is currently 11:59 a.m. It's about to be noon, which means it's time for lunch. And I was looking for a place when I was planning for this that was local, but all of the local places were really expensive and really slow. And I don't have time ever, and I don't have money because I am a broke college student. So we're just going to go to Guthrie's. It's a southern chicken place. I've never been to one. My hometown doesn't have one. So we're gonna go see what Guthrie's is like. Yeah, I'm just gonna get I'm gonna get the box.
Yes, sir.
And I'll have a Dr. Pepper with no ice to drink.
Dr. Pepper with no ice.
Yep.
Did you want to make that large?
Just a regular fun.
Yes, sir. It's going to be 13.17.
Okay, thank you.
Right in front of me is the Depot Park, where the Christmas market here in Coleman is held every year. Unfortunately, because it is April and not December, there is no Christmas market. That still makes this spot a nice spot to park and eat my lunch. So while I eat my lunch, I'll tell you about John Coleman, the founder of the city.
John Gottfried Coleman was born in 1823 in what was then the Kingdom of Bavaria. By age 25, he had obtained a degree in civil engineering and had established a successful export business in the town of Neustadt an der Haard. That year, however, the revolutions of 1848 erupted and swept Europe, and Coleman quickly became involved in the fight to topple the Bavarian monarchy. The revolution quickly ended on the side of the monarchy with the help of Prussia, and Coleman lost much of his fortune. He did manage to overcome that, only to lose all of his money again, investing on the side of the Danish during the Dano-Prussian War in 1864. Realizing that he would no longer be able to stay in a Prussia-dominated Germany, he left his home and his family to establish a new life in America. He first went to London, where he stayed until the American Civil War blew over, and in 1865 he left London and arrived in New York, where he went on to Philadelphia to work as a clerk. While there, he heard of a large German population in Cincinnati, so he settled there, working in a bookbinding business by day, studying law by night. He was admitted to the bar in less than a year and began serving the Germans in the area, and by 1871 he had amassed enough funds to begin looking for a place to establish a new settlement for freedom-loving Germans like himself to live. Coleman began searching in many different states for a suitable place, including Texas, Missouri, Wisconsin, and the Dakotas, but through making the acquaintance of former governor of Alabama, Robert Patton, he eventually settled on the Tennessee Valley as the perfect place for his new colony. He originally wanted the area near modern St. Florian, outside of Florence, but that was met with strong opposition from locals. Coleman didn't give up, and after learning about the newly completed Great North-South Railway connecting Nashville to Montgomery, turned his focus eastward. Coleman was introduced by Patton to Louis Fink, an executive for the railroad, and together they explored the entire line from Decatur to Montgomery. The area that Coleman eventually chose was essentially uninhabited, as the land had been considered unproductive by earlier settlers. Coleman purchased about 350,000 acres of land, and he then returned to Cincinnati to recruit German families for his new colony. Settlement began in earnest in April of 1873, and the town quickly grew from there. By 1875, it was incorporated as the city of Coleman, and the county followed in 1877. Coleman never stopped recruiting for his colony, and he made frequent trips back to his homeland, which was now the German Empire, to bring people to America. By 1890, the city had over 1,000 people, with thousands more living nearby thanks to Coleman's efforts. He died in 1895 at the age of 72, and the city he built from scratch now has more than 20,000 residents.
Did you enjoy that story? Well, I enjoyed my lunch. Guthrie's is an 8 out of 10. Anyways, behind me is the Coleman County Courthouse, at least the back of it. The front is hard to get a view of because they're doing construction on the church across the street, but I'll show you some clips I got over there. Anyways, this courthouse was completed in 1964, and you'll see with the Lauderdale County Courthouse and another courthouse later on that were also built in the 60s. This one is very different from those two. This one is in a nice old style for the 60s. Pretty cool.
Well, we're on our way to our next stop now, but first we have to make our way through the small town of Arab, Alabama, located at the intersections of highways 67 and 69. Anyways, it's spelled like Arab, but pronounced Arab. Don't ask me why, but their high school mascot is the Arabian Nights, which their logo on that water tower goes absolutely insane.
Welcome to Guntersville, county seat of Marshall County and a city most famous for the massive lake. It sits along the Tennessee River. This city is on a peninsula that is surrounded entirely by the lake, but the building behind me is actually older than the lake itself.
That is true. While the current Marshall County Courthouse was built between 1935 and 1936, the lake that surrounds the city, Lake Guntersville, was not created until 1939, when Guntersville Dam was built as part of the TVA's projects in the region.
The courthouse also apparently has a burger restaurant right inside, but I just ate lunch, so unfortunately we'll have to save that for another time.
But you can't go to Guntersville and not go to Lake Guntersville, or at least sit on the shores, watch the waves roll in over the wind, and just kind of sit and relax for a bit. But we are running out of time.
I guess the news and I have the same idea because they've got their camera set up behind me too. But anyways, I'm at DeKalb County Courthouse in Fort Payne, Alabama, the sock capital of the world because they used to make socks here. I've got my special socks on, can't you see?
In addition to this cool looking courthouse, Fort Payne is also the original home of the three members of the band Alabama, which, to be perfectly honest, I didn't even know was a band until I was looking at places to go for this video. I was looking around the Fort Payne map, saw Alabama Fan Club, and my first thought was, is this just about the state? Is this about the college, the football team? No, turns out it is about the band. And I had even heard some of their songs before, but I didn't even know it was a band. So go listen to Alabama. They're pretty cool. On our way to our next stop, we pass through the town of Section, which has a sign on the front that says Little Town, Great View. And the whole time I was driving through, I was wondering, where is this great view? And then you get close to the river and you see it. I did not get a good shot because it's behind a bunch of trees and my phone has been at this Dutch angle the entire time. But it's a great view.
Welcome to Scottsboro, the county seat of Jackson County, and the second to last stop on our trip. Jackson County was named after President Andrew Jackson, and the courthouse was completed in 1913.
Scottsboro is a nice little town of about 15,000 people, nestled in the mountains about halfway between Huntsville and Chattanooga. And the courthouse itself is of the neoclassical style you typically see in plenty of buildings from the early 1900s, and it looks nice. I much prefer this style to whatever Morgan County had this morning.
We have only one more city to go after this, but this isn't my last stop in Scottsboro. I have one place in mind that I've always wanted to visit.
Welcome to the Unclaimed Baggage Store, a store that sells, well, stuff left in unclaimed baggage at airports. I didn't get a ton of footage because this was in a public place and I felt weird, but they have a ton of crazy stuff, mostly clothes. Like this Super Bowl hat from Bud Light, this Malcolm X shirt, there's a Christian McCaffrey shirt that was 100% polyester. There were a bunch of Kindle Fires and other things like that. You just gotta believe me on this one. I originally wasn't gonna buy anything, but then
I got the Super Bowl hat.
And now we're on our way to our last stop, Huntsville, Alabama. We have to make it in the last hour before sunset, and as you can tell, we are cutting it pretty close.
So we're about to drive through Woodville in about a couple of miles, and this is a very small town, no more than 1,000 people. There's no reason to come here unless you live here or know someone here, or you're just driving through like me. But for 4 years, it was actually a county seat, not of Jackson County, but of Decatur County, a county that doesn't exist anymore.
Well, we finally made it. Madison County Courthouse, Huntsville, Alabama. You know, this is the fourth courthouse to be built on this location over the past 200 years. This one was built in the 1960s after Werner von Braun and his associates came in. They wanted a new, modern look for the new modern space race that would bring development and people to Huntsville. And Huntsville has blown up in that time to now being the largest city in Alabama, if you count just the city limits. I don't know if it's aged too terribly well, but it was sure modern at the time. Yeah, I'm glad I finally made it. I've been waiting all day to come here. What do you mean it's closed?